Once again, I want to welcome each and every of us. It's amazing to have us all together in our good numbers. I think at the moment we are about 80 plus on the call, which is really amazing and impressive. So right now I will just kickstart with what we have for today. Now, the whole purpose of our coming together is to expose to you guys what you should do after JAMB exam. And the goal and purpose of every of this whole thing here is to secure admission, right? So, as a matter of fact, the major reason why we are simply together right now is simply because we all have one goal we are sharing in common, which is majorly to secure admission, right? And it's my responsibility, just like I've been doing over the years through Fobac, to help as many students to achieve this purpose. Right in this section, I'll surely be telling you a lot of stories of students that we have helped in the previous time past and how we are able to guide them. Some of you were referrals of some of those amazing students. In as much as we share one goal in common, I just want to advise that you still to the end of the whole section. As a matter of fact, hopefully we'll see how God will help us all through the process, right? So this is what we are going to be covering for today. And we are going to be talking about why this year admission is going to be tough. We're also going to be looking at what you need to do in the next few days. Mistakes that really used to cause students from losing admission. We're going to also look at real story students who made it. And we are going to also share how Fobac use their own system to help students to achieve this purpose. And of course, at the end of the whole thing, I'm going to discuss with you how you can benefit from all of this, right? Now, to start with, the major thing I quickly want to establish right now is to let you know that your good JAMB score is actually useless without admission, right? Some students with 300 plus still end up writing JAMB over and over again. And that is to show you that score is not actually the problem, but their approach, their strategy, and the information they have access to is the problem, right? And all of those things is what I want to help you guys to achieve in this course section. Now, the numbers are really not in your favor. Over 2.2 million students applied for JAMB, right? And I must confess to you that only about 500,000 will be privileged to secure admission. As a matter of fact, it's not the fault of anybody. It's just simply because the schools right in Nigeria are not enough to accommodate every Nigerian student, and that makes admission a competition. So if you are not seeing admission as a competition at the moment, that is to tell you you don't really know how things work. Now, admission this year is really going to be tough, and I'm going to tell you why. Aside the fact that it's going to be tough, it is also going to be easy for some students. And here's the reason why I said it's going to be tough. First and foremost, the number of applicants is so large. I mean, 2.2 million is actually larger than those that actually applied last year. Last year, we had about 2 million, 1.9 plus. But this year, 2.2 million is a lot. No increment in admission quota. Admission quota is the slot every school has the capacity to admit. For instance, last year had the capacity to admit about 13 to 14,000 students. That has not increased for years. Unilag also had the same capacity. Unilag also had the same capacity. State University, they have about 7 to 10,000 capacity of students they can admit, and that's never increased over the year. That is why you see, that is why I stated that the admission quota is getting smaller. More competition per sport than ever. A lot of competition. Every parent wants their child to go to school. Every student wants to go to school as well. And the last reason why it's going to be tough is that JAMB Registrar Call 2026 is one of the best results, and at the same time, one of the most horrible results so far, right? And you don't want to jeopardize your chances personally this year. Now, why I said it's going to be easy? It's very simple. The reason why it's going to be easy is simply because you are in this room. I mean, you are here. For you to be here, you already have an edge over thousands and thousands of JAMBites out there, because information is what really separates those that secure admission from those that would not eventually. Because I must tell you for sure, there is not everybody that is going to get admission. That has been in existence for years, and it's not going to change this year. Now, the UTME JAMB score, like I said, it's one of the unfair one. When I mean unfair, I mean a lot of students really did not do well. As a matter of fact, you have 50% of students that have around 140 to 180, and that simply tells us that JAMB themselves, they know that if they really want to admit a lot of students this year, they will need to revisit the JAMB cutoff mark. And I'm going to explain what the cutoff is all about as we go all along. Now, a lot of people don't know me, and I think it's good I introduce myself officially to those that don't know me. And I believe if you don't know me before now, most likely, maybe your friends might have told you about who Mr. Daniel is. But here's a brief, short summary about who Mr. Daniel is. My name is Daniel Feromi, right? I founded Fobac some years back, and over these 6 years of mentoring JAMB candidates, I have guided close to 1,000 students. About 700 plus of them. Last year, we did 200 plus students. We guided 200 plus students. 180 plus enrolled for the ACG in 2025, and we have good amount of documentation. 100 plus of students secured admission via our guide. Now, one of them, I'll tell you, I like to tell stories, and I'll tell you the story. One of them is actually Deborah. Deborah was our 2024 beneficiary of our guide. She actually wrote JAMB 3 times. She almost gave up, I must confess to you. I really wish I could show you our chat. In fact, if you look very closely, you see our chat right beside what I'm displaying of when she eventually secured admission. She wanted radiography, and we got radiography, and it was a very, very interesting experience, I must say. If you can look closely, you see Deborah sharing her good news and was thanking Mr. Dan and That's that. Not only Deborah, we also guided one interesting student last year. She has really been, I wish I also suffered this game. In fact, when she told me her story, I really feel for her. But also, you are here as well. You are just like her having that kind of story. She has done ND, come back again to do JAMB, even between ND and coming back again to do JAMB. No show. She was not able to secure admission. And just last year, everything changed for Tolu. 6 years of attempting to gain admission into university is never an usual thing, and 6 years of pain and frustration. But everything ended just last year. You can see Tolu congratulating or dropping a matriculation, a matriculation picture on the group. And after 6 years, you can see she was not confessing by herself. After 6 years, everything ended. Now, the last story I really want to tell you is this amazing lady here. Her name is Ash. I call her Ash. She came across the last year as well, and our chat. Here's a congratulations message that she sent when admission was noting. Congratulations to Mr. Thank you, Mr. Daniel. My God, we surely did. You can read through for yourself. I said that, and after she get admission, she just keeps sending thank you message. That, in fact, at the point I was just like, what did I do for this girl? I deserve it. Thank you, and all. And if you look at her last chat, she even sent me money. She sent me money that is after the successful admission. And in all honesty, all of this really used to give me joy, and this is really what makes what we're doing really worth it. Now, a lot have been said about the previous students. Now let us talk about you. So you wrote JAMB this year. What now? Or now what? Here are 6 steps you must take in order to ensure that admission does not pass you by this year. I'm going to list it real first. Firstly, you must check your result. Obviously, everybody has done that. Second thing is you must be able to analyze and calculate your aggregate. This is very, very important. It is not you doing post-UTME registration that you start thinking of calculating your aggregate. You must definitely, ahead of the time, already know how to calculate your. For those of you that don't know what aggregate is, aggregate is just accumulation of every of your WAEC results, JAMB results, and of course, for those who are requesting post-UTME or post-UTME result as well. The third thing you must do is you must be able to decide if you are changing course or you are changing institution. And this decision determines everything. I mean, if you get it wrong here, I'm telling you, that's just it. It's automatic seniority. I just pray no such thing will not happen to anyone here. Right? Now, the first thing is you obviously need to apply to the school you are registering to. You made your first choice. You have to apply for your post-UTME. Show interest that you are ready to gain admission in the school by applying. And the fifth thing you need to do, you must prepare and sit for post-UTME. That is, if the school you are applying to require you to do post-UTME. And the last thing here is you must be able to monitor your CAPS and accept admission. Now, after all of this is done, at the last stage of this whole thing, I'm going to give them to ask questions. For as many that have questions, in fact, I know a lot of you actually have questions. So if you have any question, just be noting it down. At the end of everything, we are surely going to answer your question. Now, before I continue, I just really need to confirm if I'm not talking to myself. So please, can a very good, charming voice there just confirm if you can still hear me? Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, guys. Now, but here is what 80% of students. Here is what 80% of students get it wrong. Here you must not get it wrong. Thank you very much. Can you please mute back? Now, here is where 80% of students get it wrong. They guess. See, one thing I've come to realize about students is they don't know something. Instead of them to ask, they will prefer guessing their way right. And you know the horrible thing, you cannot guess to gain admission. You have to plan, you have to strategize. Why? Because you are competing with other millions of students. So it's not about guessing. Either is it about you taking advice from uncle and auntie that have left school for decades of years. They don't even understand how the process works again. And you know the interesting thing is that some people try new schools through trial and error. Honestly, it used to work for some students, but it does not work for quite big numbers because some people end up changing institution like 6 times. And out of the whole 6 times they change the institution, they will not still gain their admission. Some depend on connection, which I'm not totally against because this is Nigeria. But do you know the shocking truth? A lot of things have actually changed in the admission world. Connection, so to say, doesn't work like the way it used to work before. So you really need to understand the system, and you also need someone to hold your hands all through the process. Now, having said all this, you must also understand what cutoff mark is, because understanding cutoff mark is one key thing most students don't understand. And I'm going to break it down for you in a very, very simple way as fast as I can. Now, what students think is, if my JAMB score is above the school cutoff mark, I have gained admission. Now, let me tell you something. There are 3 types of cutoff mark. There is general cutoff, which is determined by JAMB, which for 2026, by May, is going to be determined, right? There will be a general cutoff mark that JAMB will declare that, okay, this year, we want every university to use 160, like they did last year. Last 2 years, they use 140. Last 3 years, they use 150. And with the whole look of things this year, I'm actually really thinking that they might use 140 because quite a number of students are between 140 to 200, and I know they will not want to shortchange those students. But hopefully by May, we'll get to know this year cutoff, right? So that is general cutoff. After general cutoff, there is school cutoff. School cutoff is the cutoff school peg. Even aside the fact that JAMB will peg their cutoff mark to be 160, 140, 150, as the case may be, schools will still peg their own cutoff by telling you that, okay, we are typically using 200, just like Unilag used to do every year. LASU has determined their own cutoff already. They said they are using 195 this year. So apparently, if you fall below that school cutoff, you cannot apply. But if you fall higher than it, that simply means you can apply, not you'll be given admission. Right? So immediately you apply, the last cutoff that determines everything is the departmental cutoff. Right? So that is when the department in every school will sit down and we agree to the cutoff they are using to admit students in each of the departments. For instance, Unilag last year used about 86% for those students that are applying for medicine. That means by the time they accumulate your aggregates together, your post-UTME, your O-level, your JAMB, if it's not 26, you cannot gain admission even if you apply for medicine. I want to believe you understand that, right? Now, what is actually a minimum, not a guarantee cutoff? That's what cutoff means. It's just a minimum, it's not a guarantee. Every school has a general cutoff mark, but each department sets its own cutoff, just like I've said. And admission isn't given on JAMB cutoff alone. It is JAMB plus O level, and that is why O level also needs to be strong and be put to consideration during the course of this admission process. Now, the real question you really need to answer right now, this moment, is just this 6 to 7 questions. The first question is, what is my exact aggregate at my current choice? That's one. Secondly is, does my school qualify me or should I change my course? The third question is, which institution give me the highest chance for my dream course? The fourth question is, what happens if my O-level is missing a subject that I need? How do you even know you miss a particular O-level subject if you are not being guided, right? The second to the last question you need to ask yourself again is, am I really eligible for the course I am changing to or not? And the last question you really need to ask yourself, lastly, is, do I have a backup plan if I am not given admission by my chosen school? If you don't know or answer all of these questions, then this night is for you, and you really need to wait till the end. Now, these are my amazing and lovely students in 2025. They all answered this same question just like you. These are real stories of students who sent, of course, we have a group that we create specially for them, and that is where they dump their matric picture and they dump it all results. And I just feel, let me just share some of them with you. Now, most students who lose admission aren't there because they aren't smart. They are there because they had no one experienced enough to guide them. Some had no help at all. Some had help from uncles, friends, random advisors who actually misled them into deeper confusion. Both groups paid the same price. Another year wasted, unfortunately. But then that stops here, especially for those of you that have been trying to secure admission for so many years. Now, yes, our Fobac is willing to help you. We have introduced what we call admission consultation guide. Now, this is not a course. This is not a program either. It is not even another video pack. ACG is practically the only guide you need to secure admission this year. But it has been built from over 6 years of guiding 700 plus Nigerian students. Now, here's what ACG entails. Let me quickly tell you what ACG entails before we take questions. Now, 7 solid recorded videos that I made by myself, specially available for the ACG members. You can't find it anywhere. I never upload it on YouTube, neither I upload it on TikTok. And what are these 7 videos entailing? It entails the admission mindset, the cutoff marks decoded. I broke down cutoff marking much more than I did this night in there. And I also taught you how to calculate your aggregate peculiar to your own school. That is your own school. How you need to calculate your aggregate is in there. You also in there gave you a brief on what you need to do to change your course and change your institution. How university actually admits. As a 5th video, the 6th one is the hidden hurdles about post-UTME, and the last one is the video that talks about preparing you for a strategy section. Now, what does a strategy section means? In this same ACG, you have access to me one-on-one to guide you all the way, and this is actually the beauty of the admission consultation guide. It is not only about you watching 7 videos. If you watch the 7 videos, you are still coming to me for me to properly put you in the proper guide. Even if it's not me, definitely every one of my team, I always say, but most of the time I take charge of the one-on-one strategy section. Now, after the videos, we don't leave you alone. We hop on a personal call with me or my team. Together, we look at your situation peculiarly, because you know every student have peculiar situation. Some are below 180, some are above 180, some are between 200 to 250, some even have 300 plus, depending on the case. The O-level result we also consider it, because it's one key thing that every school consider. We also help you calculate your aggregate. You don't even need to pass all through that stress by yourself. And the best part forward is, all through the process, we hold your hand and we ensure that we guide you to secure admission. That is not only about the ACG. We also have a private ACG community. See, in this community, a lot of things happen, right? Aside the fact that students actually secure admission, they even went ahead picking themselves as roommates right in this group. A lot of things actually happen in this group. When you are added to JAMB of like-minded to walk through this journey with you all the way. And of course, the private community is where I dedicate most of my attention to for the next 4 to 5 months. Right now, In addition, for those that are doing Post-UTME, the ACG also contains you having full pack of Post-UTME past questions. I've been able to gather a lot of past questions over the years. I call this library, Fobac library, where you have access to as many past questions as possible, especially UNILAC students, the UI, the OAU, the UNN is not doing Post-UTME again, but every student that does Post-UTME, you'll find this Fobac library useful. Now, here's one of the key parts that students don't like to hear. I'm going to tell you, unfortunately. Let me ask you something. If I told you to pay 100,000 naira and end this worry of writing JAMB year in, year out, to end all of the washing, to end all of the cycle of washing your friends, move forward, and you remain the same, would it actually be worth it? I just want to answer that question in your mind. Now, if you answer that question in your mind, if your answer is no, let me shock you that some students are actually paying about 400k just for admission. See, just last year, I got a chat from one of my ACG students that reached out to me that the admission that she got, someone actually paid 400k for it. This is a chat. And she sent me evidence of screenshot that the girl paid 400k just to secure admission. That shows you how desperate people are to secure admission. Now, I've guided students over the years, and I never collected the time. But yes, where the issue actually happened. But I noticed something painful. People don't value what they don't pay for. See, if you guide someone, during those days when I guide students, guide parents, they will go, what I ask them to do, they will not do it. They will go and do what someone that they pay huge amount of money actually ask them to do, which eventually don't used to work. They still don't have to come back. And obviously, that was why I felt, no, it has to really end here. People don't actually value what they don't pay for. And aside that, come on, we are about 600 in the group. I cannot guide everybody. That is the truth, right? I cannot have one course section with everybody. And that is why I feel, no, for me to separate the men from the boys, you really have to pay for all of this package we have for you in this. And what is the cost? It is not 50,000, either it's 20,000, either it's even 10,000. ACG will actually cost just 7,500. But don't go, because you stayed in this moment. Of course, surely a discount kind of person. Last year, student actually paid 5,000 to get the ACG. This year, it is 7,500. Last 2 years, it was 3,000 naira. This year, it is 7,500. And here you have a discount of 2,000 naira for the student that is going to be making decision right away. So I'm going to pay 7,500, rather I'm going to pay 5,500. But note that this offer ends in the next 48 hours, and the 5,500 offer is gone if we have achieved getting at least maybe 50 paid students. As I'm talking to you right now, I already have 3 paid students, 1 student and 2 parents, right? Once we hit 50, it will not be 5,500 again. But that is not all. What the 2025 ACG student actually said is something you need to look at. I have tons of testimony that if I just start sharing them from now in the next 4 months, I've not stopped sharing them. Because you can imagine we guided over 200 students last year, and practically most of them secured admission. And they sent, the evidence is there. I cannot read all of this all the way. But of course, these are live chats between me and some of these students during their matric and even when admission was gotten. But in all of this, there is one student that actually stood that I really want to talk to you about. Her name is Maple. Maple actually tried to secure admission for 3 good years. Now, why her story is so touching to me is simply because in those 3 years, she went through hell. When I mean went through hell, I could not impute a recorded voice in the chat or in this slide. But then, maybe this night or tomorrow morning, I'm going to drop a voice record. Immediately, we were able to get her a dream course, which was English and Literary Studies. She practically cried. And it was so interesting that we could actually contribute this to the life of a student. Now, before you ask your question, you decide what you want for yourself. Do you want to continue alone, trying to figure out things for yourself, or listen to your uncles, aunties that they've left school for years and don't even understand how the process works again? Be honest with yourself. What did that get you last time? Especially those that have been doing this admission thingy for the 2 years, 3 years. Now, part 2 is you can decide to join the ACG today, pay 5,500, get the videos, book your section, join the community, and get guided till admission is given. And that will be all on my presentation for now. To put a summary on all of these things, the whole thing here is if you're ready to opt on the admission confirmation guide right away now, the account number is going to display, and we also have a link here where you can actually use the message link to make payment, and you send your receipt to that number